Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the flag salute. Before we begin this meeting, I'd like to have a moment of silence in honor of our troops who risk their lives daily to keep and continue our lives safely. Also a moment of silence, I would like to mention this last week, unfortunately, we lost two more of our Monmouth County family members. Mary Maples, who began working for the county in 1974, was the secretary for the Monmouth County Superintendent of Schools office before her retirement in January 2012. Mary dedicated 38 years of service to Monmouth County, and we are saddened to hear the news of her passing. And Dr. Sidney Kramer, who served as a member of the Monmouth County Board of Health since 2009, also passed this past week. Again, we are saddened by the loss as well. I ask you that you please remember both of our Monmouth County family members' thoughts today, and may they both rest in peace.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
This meeting is being held in
compliance with the provisions of Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, known as the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was furnished to the county newspapers and posted in the Hall of Records. Freeholder Rich.
Here.
Freeholder Curley.
Here.
Freeholder Burry. Here. Freeholder Damaso. Here. Director Renaud.
Here.
Director, our first order of business today is the recognition of our county employees.
Yes, I am extremely proud to stand up here. And usually, when I stand up here and give a response, I usually don't read a response. But I think it's important today. I wanted to have the information accurate because it's something that all of us on this board, unanimously, and all our Monmouth County residents should be extremely proud of what we have as employees for our county. So just bear with me a few minutes. I just like to share the circumstances that occurred on October 29th. On October 29, 2012, Superstorm Sandy had a devastating impact on the coastal regions of Monmouth County. There was a 12-foot tidal surge, severe flooding, 75 mile per hour winds, downed trees, and destruction of homes and businesses. It was horrifying, a national disaster. We often do not appreciate the gift of life and all the possessions until they are threatened or taken away. The 11 personnel here today from the Department of Public Works and Engineering witnessed it in real time. During that night, Director Tabia requested volunteers to assist Union Beach. However, due to the closed roads, Sheriff Golden and Director Tabia and one transport crew were unable to continue to Union Beach. This transfer crew was redirected to Belmont. These 11 employees, utilizing county refurbished transport vehicles, rescued over 300 residents from flooded areas exceeding 5 feet of water. Residents were on the rooftops of homes and cars in some cases. They had to clear the roads of trees and debris in order to reach the residents in danger. Our personnel carried residents through chest-deep water to the safety of their vehicles. Actually, to the trucks of the Monmouth County Department. The crew had the courage to act when they believed the time was right, rather than wait for someone else to respond. Simply put, this response by the personnel of Public Works and Engineering was above and beyond their call of duty. Heroism feels that never reasons, and therefore it is always right. Recognition today by the Board of Chosen Freeholders, my fellow board, is more deserving. Your actions on that night made a significant difference and saved lives. Congratulations on a job well done. We are extremely proud of you. Extremely come from our Board of Chosen Freeholders. Thank you. Before I come down to recognize each and every one of them, I'd like to share them. I know you wanted to recognize the workers and our employees too.
Freeholder Director and Board, good afternoon, and I just wanted to say a few words, and it really is to reiterate what the Freeholder Director said in terms of the individuals that we have, not only working for Public Works, but across the county, as the freeholders will witness in the Emergency Operations Center during the storm. As you all there, very supportive, as usual, to the emergency operations and the life-saving effort in the county. We had over 7,800 911 calls in less than a 24-hour period during the night of the storm. And certainly there were over 900 water rescues going on between the 27 towns that line the coastline here in Monmouth County. So it was with the effort of our Public Works. John Tabia and I were in the car. We won't say that we got stuck during the storm, but we did venture out during the storm to do some assessments firsthand. And we did run into our very own Public Works crews during that time, pushing trees out of the way, using the high water vehicles and the front end loaders to get to the people that needed it the most and that were so desperate in the rescues on rooftops and on housetops, housetops and certainly on their cars and the like. And I remember hearing all the radio traffic. John and I were in the car and we were hearing all the radios go a little crazy, both on the north end and the south end, Union Beach, all the way on down through Belmore, Manasquan, and certainly on top of all the sheriff's officers, I'm so proud of in corrections and law enforcement and my emergency management team and our operators at the 911 center. It was other people that came together. Parks Department doing donations, Bruce Golnick that ran Thompson Park and hold donations afterwards, to all the volunteers and our public information office. Everybody really came together, but it was highlighted by the fact that these individuals went above and beyond during our time of need and our residents' time of need here in the county. So I really wanted to thank them personally as the board. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. And before I also get up to present the certificates, also, I thought it was very important today to do this because on the 20th in Belmar, they're going to be recognized by the municipality. Mayor Doherty has contacted me and asked me to come to the council meeting, and obviously all of us are welcome there to recognize our employees. And it just shows a sign of unity between our municipalities, where we came together at the right time. And it's nice to see how our municipalities, and I've received it all across this county, on what our departments did and achieved, and the safety that they brought some of our residents that needed that at that time. So at that time, I'm going to call each and every one of you up, and again, on behalf of all of us, we thank you.
No, that's for somebody else.
Okay, would you like to all come down and present them individually? I mean, they're all part of ours, and, I think, or do you want me to just call them all out? You can take her. Gary Freed? Does this mean I'm getting 11 pictures? Thank you. Oh, 2-1. Kenneth Bonholt? Not here?
He's in hospital with his father.
David Honish? That's it. Danielle Adler? Nicholas Kilner? Donald Holmes? Ron Boyce? David Milmo? Matt Betson again? Matt? Oh, I'm sorry. Michael Rigby? Joseph Grasso? Again, on behalf of all the board here, unanimously, we and the Monmouth County residents, we thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you.
also now has a certificate of recognition honoring Sawyer Howard.
Guys, feel free if you want to take off. Could I come with you?
Freeholders, would you like to join me?
Oh, okay.
This is Sawyer Howard. He is 12 years old. He's in the 7th grade at Marlboro Memorial Middle School. Are you coming to school today? That's why you said
That is honest.
Careful, it's on the record.
Well, Sawyer has been collecting sneakers for the Souls for Souls organization, who gives the sneakers to victims of disaster and to those suffering who have never had shoes. And to date, he has collected 3,600 pairs.
Actually,
4,800 pairs of shoes, which is 4,800 for the other people in the room. And your pairs? Wow, and your, you know, if you came to my house, I could get you that 5,000 mil card.
We need that. That is helpful.
Well, I probably do have a bag or something. I'll contact you. I'll have free to call you again. But you're commonly known as a sneaker collector?
Yes.
Well, we have this certificate that we're presenting to Sawyer Howard as an avid sneaker collector who started collecting shoes as a service project in preparation for his bar mitzvah in 2013. Sawyer has been collecting new and gently used pair of shoes to donate to an organization called Souls for Souls, which collects shoes to give to relief victims of disaster and abject suffering. When the highly destructive Superstorm Sandy severely damaged Monmouth County community, Sawyer distributed more than 800 pairs of shoes to those in need. To help promote his shoe drive efforts, Sawyer printed and circulated flyers and engaged the local soccer and hockey teams to email their friends and post the event on social media. Very good. The organization, Souls for Souls, sends shoes to people around the world who have never had shoes and uses its resources to support micro-enterprise efforts to help eradicate poverty. So, on behalf of the Board of Chosen Freeholders, we commend Sawyer Howard, a dedicated, civic-minded citizen of Monmouth County, who answered a need with an outstanding commitment to our community and proclaims this day, it's not just Valentine's Day anymore, Sawyer, it's Sawyer Howard Day. Congratulations. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your program? Okay, go ahead. I'll hold your plaque. Please. The stage is yours, my friend.
So I love collecting sneakers, and I have about 60 pair myself.
Can I just ask you questions? When you get up in the morning, you put a color shirt on, you match it with your sneakers?
Yes. Director Arnone wants to thank you for his shirt.
Actually, you could wear that. Go with my tie.
No, he has to receive. Go ahead, Sawyer.
And I go to sneaker releases and all that, like all the time. And I have a passion for collecting sneakers, and it gives me joy to have a lot of pairs. So I thought, why not let other people have who have never had in third world countries? And I collect for Souls, and we collect the shoes, and then we bring them to the warehouse in Edison. And then Edison sends them to Tennessee, and then they send them to the third world countries.
Wow.
Where can we bring them? If we have shoes.
To my house and then
And only from 8 to 12. That's bad.
Do you have a website? Or is it on a Facebook page?
It's on a Facebook page.
And it's called, the Facebook page is
it's just like Souls for
Souls for Souls. It's SOLES 4.
I'll send you.
Okay, 4 Souls.
She'll know, trust me. She'll know.
I'll look you up, I'll like you on Facebook, okay? And do you have a Twitter account?
No.
All right, next thing you have to do is your Twitter account, okay? All right. And we'll make sure we collect enough shoes right here. Everybody take off your shoes on the way out. All right. Well, thank you again, sir.
Thank you.
You are just a fantastic young man, and someday somebody who's going to be a great leader of our community. So thank you very much for your
You already know.
We also now, Freeholder Curley has a certificate of recognition honoring the Reverend Henry P. Davis Jr.
Reverend, good afternoon. Barry Johnson, would you join us?
Yeah.
Barry Johnson is our Director of Addiction Services. Ladies and gentlemen, I met Reverend Henry Davis when I lived in Red Bank and serving on the Borough Council, and always enjoyed coming out, listening to Reverend Davis, whether it be during a religious service at the Pilgrim Baptist Church or anywhere in town where he may be speaking. Reverend Davis has a booming voice, and that booming voice certainly transcended into some wonderful acts. Reverend Davis had recognized the crisis that we had with addictions, not just here in Monmouth County, but throughout the state of New Jersey, in essence throughout the world. And he dedicated 19 years of service to the Monmouth County Board. And that's unique that someone would put that much time and effort and in supporting our residents, knowing that your efforts were going to make a better society. And this afternoon, Reverend, on behalf of our Freeholder Board, this certificate is presented to Reverend Henry P. Davis Jr. in recognition of 19 years of dedicated service to the citizens of our community as part of the Monmouth County Board of Addiction Services. Reverend Henry P. Davis Jr., who has always been a strong advocate for prevention projects, programs, and addiction treatment, served on various committees of the Monmouth County Board of Addiction Services, and during his tenure, held the positions of board chairperson and vice chairperson. Not an easy job. In appreciation of his positive influence, his outstanding commitment to our community, and his many contributions to the residents of Monmouth County, the Board of Chosen Freeholders, on behalf of the 665,000 residents of the 53 municipalities, hereby proclaim this day, February 14th, 2013, as Reverend Henry P. Davis Jr. Day. Thank you for your service. Say a few words also. Barry?
Thank you, Freeholder. It's been a real pleasure working with Reverend Davis. Oh, it doesn't seem that long, Reverend Davis.
No,
15 years. But it's been a real pleasure, and he's just been great to work with. So thank you for your contributions.
Thank you.
Pleasure, Reverend. Do you want to say a few words?
It's been great being in Monmouth County and having served as a pastor of the church in the county and Atlantic County for over 40 years, and having been employed by the United States Department of Army at Fort Monmouth for over 25 years, and I'm just grateful to be so recognized by the Monmouth County Board of Freeholders. This is indeed an honor that I will cherish in a very special way, and I do thank you for this recognition. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reverend Davis. Appreciate you coming out. Thank you.
And now Director Freeholder Burry has a proclamation honoring Linda Toscano.
I wonder if I could invite of course, Linda Toscano, but
In addition, a few of her peers, Dr. Karen Melanowski is gracing our presence here. She is head of equine studies at Rutgers University. And we have Nancy Rebellion, Mayor and Millstone, who is a harness racer. You actually race?
I'm racing today. Oh, I'm going to be here to race as soon as we get done.
So 3 outstanding examples of the industry here. So if you would come back, I would appreciate it. Because now we can all acknowledge Linda Toscano and what she's been able to accomplish. Linda, you're really a remarkable woman. You were granted the 2012 Governor's Award for Horse Person of the Year. And this happened by virtue of the New Jersey Secretary of Agriculture, Doug Fisher, who graciously presented you with your crown. And you started working at Roosevelt Raceway in Westbury, New York, but you are a local gal. You live right here in Freeholder, which is wonderful. And the New Jersey Equine Advisory Board, a committee of past horse person people, actually recognize you as the first female trainer to win the prestigious Hamiltonian New Jersey bred market share. Now that's an incredible accomplishment. And you certainly, as a committed and passionate advocate of the harness racing industry in New Jersey, which we so really dearly need, you have shown that you're an outstanding citizen, not only in the horse industry, but in our community in Monmouth County. So we would like to present you with this proclamation, and it comes from the entire board of chosen freeholders. And you're going to have to share this day with a few other people, but we are declaring that this day, February 14, 2013, be known as Linda Toscano Day in all of Monmouth County. I don't know if Dr. Melanowski might want to say something.
I'm just very pleased to be here, and Linda is one of my favorites. And I'm also a very big harness racing advocate. So, congratulations.
And I have to give a plug for Millstone because she does train in Millstone. So it's all that fresh air and that good soil in Millstone that helps away.
Yes.
With a very good trainer.
Well, we're very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Now, I don't want to prevent you from saying something.
The only thing, first of all, thank you so much for the recognition. I mean, I'm very, very grateful and I'm humbled by it. I'm really proud to make a living every single day of my life working with the state animal of New Jersey, which is the horse. And you pinch yourself every day when you get to play with horses and you earn a living doing it. Thank you again.
Thank you. Wait a minute, there's someone in the back.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, guys. Back to the bar.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We'll see these races.
Freeholders, we also have the following proclamations that will be or have been given out of house. Freeholder Bury honoring the Jazz Foundation. Freeholder Damaso honoring the Year of the Snake for the Chinese New Year and honoring Meridian Health. And Director Arnaud honoring George Comedis as Belmar Citizen of the Year. Director, you now have a presentation for the NJAC Foundation PSE&G Scholarship, and Tim McCorkle is here as well.
Yes, before I call up the dad of Carrie, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, Carrie? And just a little bit about this. PSE&G awards scholarships for county vocational school students. And we're fortunate this year to have one of our own in one of our schools at High Tech, where basically is for green initiatives. And it's something that we're proud of as being one of our students, and we consider them one of our students, as Tim McCorkle knows he's one of his students. And Tim makes it a point to come here and be here with us because as proud as we are, Tim is just as proud. And unfortunately, Carrie can't be here today because I think he's in school. And he doesn't want to miss a day of school.
Soya.
So with this is a little different than the other recognitions because he does receive a recognition, but not only does he receive a recognition, he receives a check from NJAC for $550 to advance his studies when he moves on to higher education. So with that, I'd just like to present you with a resolution to carry and let him know on behalf of all of us freeholders, we're very, very proud of him. Freeholders, would you like to come up and just have a picture with the proud father?
Absolutely.
And we do have a recognition certificate for the 2000 Green Scholarship Program awarded, presented to Harry, and I'm going to have you pronounce the last name because I really didn't want to make a big mistake when I said that. I'm sure you know. I knew it was that. In recognition for your dedication to academic excellence and distinguished scholastic achievement. Congratulations. Thank you.
Slide that with it.
Sure.
And I'm sure your son is smart enough where he can Photoshop himself in where you are.
Thank you. Tim, would you like to say something?
I would just like to thank the board, NJAC, EG. Harry is an example of the students we have in Monmouth County Vocational School District. It's appropriate that February is Career and Technical Education Month, where we recognize the 21 county vocational schools and all that we do to prepare the future leaders and the workforce of tomorrow. I think Harry and High Technology High School, which I will add for the second year in a row, is the #1 school in the nation for math and science education. And Harry is a chemical engineering major, correct? At New Jersey Institute of Technology. So I think we're all proud of him. So,
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Director, we now have a presentation on the solar LED light posts, and Susan Molzani from the engineering department is here.
Thank you, Susan. And this is something that we're looking into, and I think we're going to experiment with implementing. And we're going to ask you for a little short presentation to the board and to the public. Actually, we're going to pull out here a little. Yeah, it's fine. Screens are on.
Great, thank you. At the instruction of Freeholder Director Arnaud, liaison to the Department of Public Works and Engineering to implement operations and maintenance efficiencies, and in conjunction with Freeholder Rich and the countywide energy plan to promote energy efficiency and cost reductions, the Department of Public Works and Engineering has investigated innovative lighting technologies. We have partnered with Lumi Solar to incorporate off-grid lighting into the existing infrastructure at county facilities. This lighting system uses advanced lighting technology to maximize performance and efficiency. The use of LED lighting makes for a more efficient fixture compared to other types of lamps due to their lower wattage and longer lifetime. The battery system enables the lights to run at nighttime. They are 100% recyclable lithium iron phosphate batteries. Up to 5,000 charge cycles can be achieved, giving these batteries a lifetime of over 10 years. The solar panels are designed for maximum efficiency and can generate power even on cloudy days. An off-grid lighting system provides both economic and environmental benefits. The solar panels are able to generate 100% of the power needed for the lights, thus eliminating the need for grid-powered electricity. Installation costs for new lampposts are greatly reduced by eliminating the need to run electricity to these lampposts. And this off-grid technology reduces greenhouse gas emissions related to the production of electricity. 2 solar LED light systems will be incorporated into the existing lighting schemes at 2 prominent county locations. These installations are scheduled to take place next Friday, February 22nd. 1 solar LED light system will be installed at the Western Branch Library. The existing lighting uses LED and metal halide fixtures, but relies on electricity from the grid. The new light will be installed near the Sims Drive entrance to illuminate the driveway and parking area. The swan design shown here has been selected for the Western Branch Library. This sleek design is appropriate for pedestrian and street lighting. A solar panel is used as the energy source for this fixture. The panel is oversized so that it is able to produce enough power even if it is not facing directly into the sun. The second location for the solar LED installation is at Monument Park in front of the courthouse. The existing lighting uses decorative high-pressure sodium fixtures. A solar light fixture will be installed at the location here to illuminate the walkway and Battle's Monmouth plaque. This classic design will be installed at Monument Park. The design is most suitable for area and pedestrian lighting. The fixture is powered by solar panels that are located on top of the circular light fixture head. There are several goals of this program which are important to Monmouth County's energy initiatives. This pilot program hopes to determine the feasibility of off-grid lighting for county facilities. Future success of this technology could greatly contribute to the county's commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And reducing the county's electric demand translates directly into financial savings. Possible applications for off-grid technology include at highway districts where lights are needed in the yards, at the Belford Ferry Terminal where the solar and wind potential are high, and throughout the Monmouth County parks where the use of electricity may be expensive or impossible to install. The most practical use of off-grid lighting is for new construction or new light installation projects because of the reduced installation costs. We have also been pursuing a solar project to increase the reliability of the county's signalized intersections. The Division of Engineering and Traffic Safety has partnered with an industry leader in solar lighting to develop a solar traffic light system. The need for reliable alternatives to the electric grid has become apparent due to temporary power outages caused by severe weather conditions. In recent years, the county has endured severe snow and rainstorms, Hurricane Irene, and Superstorm Sandy that have tested the emergency preparedness of the county and caused multi-day power outages lasting as long as 2 weeks. The County of Monmouth maintains and operates over 200 signalized intersections. When the electric power grid is interrupted, the current backup battery system is able to supply enough power to operate the lights for 2 to 6 hours and requires approximately 5 days for recharging. During extended power outages, valuable resources must be used to ensure the safety of all motorists. Oftentimes, police officers are stationed at intersections to direct traffic, or portable generators, which require refueling and maintenance, are set up at the signalized intersection. Other alternatives are road closures, the use of four-way stops, or detours, which are disruptive to traffic flow. The goal of this project is to develop a system that uses solar power to recharge backup batteries. The current lead-acid batteries can be replaced with more efficient lithium iron phosphate batteries. These batteries will be able to keep a signal in operation for approximately 24 hours without electricity. Incorporating solar panels into the backup power supply will enable the batteries to be recharged continuously. The solar panels will be mounted to the arm of the traffic signal and connected to the signal power supply. It is our hope to be able to return excess solar-generated electricity back to the grid, providing further economic benefits to this project. The next step in the development process is to develop a model system. A typical signal configuration will be set up, and the lithium iron phosphate batteries and solar panels will be connected to the signal. During this demonstration, the signal loads, as well as the battery and solar panel performance, will be monitored. After a successful model has been established, the pole and arm of the traffic light will be analyzed to ensure that it can support the additional weight of the solar panels. Then we will conduct a pilot program, and the solar panel system will be installed on an operating signal. Thank you very much. Now I'll open up to any questions.
Sure. Well, first of all, before opening up to the board for any questions, I have to say you did a fabulous job. You presented that
Very nicely.
Exceptional. You clarified it to all the freeholders, and I'm sure the public. This is another initiative. And you know, I regularly get phone calls from municipalities and from other counties asking us about how we do our shared services, how we do our economic development, how we do a lot of things here in the county, okay? And now I'm sure we're going to be receiving phone calls on this initiative that we're moving forward. This is a green initiative that is something that, and I know Gary, you work very hard on this too, and John, I commend you, I commend Joe, Susan, and everybody there that was involved in this, because this is another step moving forward for Monmouth County. This is the way that we're going to move the county forward and continue the process that we should be governing by. With that, is there any questions we'd like to ask Susan, or? You did a terrific job.
No, I'd like to just comment on Susan. I mean, where have they been keeping you? She's new.
Do you have a question? Sure. Could you please stand up? Because you would have to speak.
Her discussion is really poignant for me because I was struck at the intersection of Highway 34 and Fairlands Road. Fairlands is a county road, I believe. But someone at my township committee said that this wouldn't work because it still had to be connected to electricity. But what you've been telling us today is it's independent of electricity. Is that correct?
No, we're hoping to still be connected to the electric grid, but with this system, the solar panels will recharge the backup batteries. So when the electric grid is down, we're able to continuously recharge the batteries.
And so the traffic lights in the county would be functioning if they had this equipment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let me just take a minute and also say, Susan, that was a great presentation. Susan, you've been here 6 months?
Yes.
6 months. And since we started out this initiative, I have to say that you've done a great job working with everyone to take a leadership role on the energy side, and that was something that we needed. And we're going to continue to move forward. So some of these innovative ideas, it just seems like as you think more and more about the applications that we can use with solar, it doesn't have to have grant money, it doesn't have to have some kind of a subsidy behind it. These are real live applications that we can use. So I'd like to thank you. It was a great presentation, and I look forward to seeing what we can do on those traffic lights. And once we get the poles in, they were supposed to be installed tomorrow, but since because of the flooding in Long Island, the manufacturer couldn't get the painting done. So we hope to have this done next week on the 22nd. So
Next month.
I'm driving over on Friday to sit underneath those lights. So
And I
thank
hope
you
that
very
everybody
much.
takes a look and just
Put my lotion, put my hat on.
Susan, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
You know, I'll tell you, we had a real good taste of our future here in Monmouth County with our sneaker man, with our student from high tech, and Susan. We got a bright future here in Monmouth County. Okay, Marion?
Okay. Freeholders, on tonight's agenda, items 7 and 8 will be discussed by Council Baser in her report. We have minutes to be approved for the work session and regular meetings of October 11th and 25th, 2012. We have a resolution appointing James J. McGann to an unexpired term ending 12/31/2013 on the Youth Services Commission. We have a resolution appointing Barry Cross to a 3-year term ending 12/31/2015 on the Transportation Council. A resolution appointing Tracy Abby White to a 4-year term ending 10/31/2016 on the Brookdale Community College Board of Trustees. And we also have a resolution appointing the time and place for the freeholder meetings for March through December 2013. And that's all I have, Director.
Thank you. Administrator?
Good afternoon, Director, members of the board. Item 14 is a resolution adopting a negotiated labor agreement between the board, the sheriff, and the clerical workers at the sheriff's office. There are 41 employees in the unit. The contract is for the period 2012-2013. Salary increases are 2% for 2012, 1.75 for 13. There are various language changes, including the swap of Lincoln's birthday for the day after Thanksgiving to make our contracts all uniform. Item 15 is a resolution authorizing the extension of a lease agreement between the county and the landlord where the Office on Aging, Disabilities, and Veterans Services are located. As you're aware, we're looking to move that office into the Human Services Department, but because of delays associated with the storm, Buildings and Grounds have been able to accomplish all of the renovations, so it's a 3-month extension through the end of June at about $7,100 a month.
Okay. And we're doing most of that work.
It's all being done in-house.
We're doing all that work in this thing.
Yes,
So the delay is just because we had to redirect staff.
correct. We were going to reach the March date that we have to put that because of the storm, and that's all I have unless there are any questions.
Nope, that should be it. County Council?
Thank you, Director, members of the board. Item 6 is a public hearing which will be held pursuant to NJSA 40:12-14, which requires adoption of an authorizing resolution by the freeholders prior to the expenditure of more than $100,000 of open space tax funds for any improvement or development project for the maintenance of lands acquired for recreation and conservation purposes. Usually, this hearing has a dual purpose of approving maintenance expenses and allocating funds for the municipal open space grant program. However, due to the uncertainty of the amount of the open space tax this year, we cannot yet allocate for the grant program. Nonetheless, in order to expend funds for maintenance purposes, which are necessary, the hearing will be bifurcated this year. This public hearing is to authorize maintenance expenses for 2013 in the amount of $3,087,352 in the maintenance of various parks areas, golf courses, recreation areas, greenways, trails, and other lands acquired for recreation and conservation purposes at county parks throughout Monmouth County. These expenses include such items as construction and maintenance materials, emergency and safety materials, janitorial services, grounds maintenance, renovation, and equipment and vehicle maintenance repairs. Item 7 and 8. Item 7 is a public hearing. Item 8 is the resolution to amend the annual allocation of funds from the Monmouth County Open Space Recreation, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund. By Resolution 09-52, the board designated an annual allocation of the fund to include several things, including a $2 million per year for cooperative projects with municipalities known as the Municipal Open Space Grant Program, up to 20% of the total amount collected to be used for county park recreation and conservation development and maintenance purposes, and also debt service on the indebtedness incurred through land acquisition, and the balance of the money is used for the acquisition of lands for county park recreation and conservation purposes and for farmland preservation purposes. The intent of this public hearing and resolution is to adopt a revised allocation of the funds to permit up to 30% of the total amount collected to be used for county park recreation and conservation development and maintenance expenses. The remainder of the allocations will remain the same.
Item 16 is a resolution authorizing the acquisition of an improved parcel of land containing approximately 13.07 acres in the township of Millstone, described as Block 29, lots 5.01 and 5.01Q, more commonly known as the Ganothley property. This acquisition will be used for open space preservation, natural resources conservation, and public park and recreation purposes, and as an addition to Prineville Lake Park. The cost of this acquisition is $785,000 and is being purchased through the Monmouth County Open Space Recreation, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund. Item 17 is a resolution authorizing the acquisition of an improved parcel of land containing approximately .82 acres in the township of Upper Freehold, described as Block 20, Lot 21, more commonly known as the Malsbury property. This acquisition will also be used for open space preservation, natural resources conservation, and public park and recreation purposes as an addition to Clayton Park. The cost of this acquisition is $145,000 and is being purchased through the Monmouth County Open Space Recreation, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund. Item 18 is a resolution authorizing the acquisition of an unimproved parcel of land containing approximately 10.89 acres in the township of Upper Freehold, described as Block 34, a portion of Lot 1, more commonly known as the Schmidt and Gordon property. This acquisition will be used for open space preservation, natural resources conservation, and public park and recreation purposes as an addition to Prospect Creek Greenway. The cost of this acquisition is $180,000.
Before you get to 19, I was just telling Matt. Continue on. Are you going on to 19?
Yes.
Okay, before you get on to 19, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'd like to make a comment before we get on to the next resolution. Here, in light of the circumstances last night in Manalapan, is my recommendation as director of the board that there's no need to have this resolution even on our agenda tonight. You know, we all have our strong beliefs on this, and I respect everyone's beliefs and feelings on this, and individually, at this time, there's really no need to discuss it until Manalapan moves forward. And we will have a discussion. I'm sure we will have a major discussion here between board members, the five of us, and with the public. So at this time, it's my recommendation, and recommendation only, that, and I would like to poll the rest of the board, if at this time, because of, in light of the circumstances, and for not being understood the circumstances last night in Manalapan, without knowing the total logistics of it, was that it was tabled until a later date, now that I understand. And until that happens, until it moves forward there, that would be the time that it would come to the Board of Chosen Freeholders, and we would make our decision whether we want to move forward or to not move forward. So at that time, I respect, and I do obviously see people in the public here that have very high opinions of this application, and I totally respect that and understand that. But with all due respect, I mean, there's really nothing to discuss now. I welcome all the discussion for all of these applications when this comes up and it's a vote. And I will give everybody the ample time to discuss their opinion and their feelings on this. But at this time, we're really talking about something that could be a totally moot point, or there could be that time when we do have to discuss it. With that, Paul, start with Gary.
I'll make you want a motion to table?
I don't, is that the way we would handle that, Marion?
Yes. I'll make a motion to table item number 19 until such time as it's needed to be put back on the agenda.
Second.
And when the time comes, I'm ready.
And we all have our individual opinions, and as director of this board, it's my job, and I want to state this because I'm sure that this time is going to come at a later time where there's going to be discussion. I'm going to have those questions directed to me, directly as a director, and we all have our very strong beliefs about this application, and you'll hear each and every one of ours, I'm sure, at that time.
We have a motion on the floor. Can we have a vote for it?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I apologize for anybody that's here on this application, but I truly feel, the board truly feels this is the right thing to do. Why discuss something that's going to be moving to point. Thank you. Okay. Please do.
Okay, thank you, sir. Item 20 is a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement to sell surplus property owned by the County of Monmouth in the Township of Monroe, described as Block 32, Lot 1.10, more commonly known as 1231 Compensation Road. It has been determined that the land, which was acquired through a forfeiture action undertaken by the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office, is not needed for public use by the county. The County of Middlesex has decided to purchase the property for its open space program. The sales price of the property is $1 million, which is subject to a significant tax lien. The net proceeds of the sale will be paid into the prosecutor's law enforcement trust fund. Item 21 is a resolution authorizing the exercising of an option to extend the current lease between the County of Monmouth and the Salvation Army for the year 2013 to allow the Monmouth County Park System to continue to utilize available space at the Salvation Army building located in Asbury Park as a regional activity center to make parks programs and activities accessible to that region. And that's all I have unless there are any questions. And also, just so you know, Jim Tunster and Bruce Muller are here in case there's any questions relating to most of the...
Could we just get an explanation, and I know, Jim, that I've spoken to you about this, and Lillian too, that why we're bringing this up to move that up to potentially 30%, and it's just more of a safety net to move it up to that 30%. If you could give a little short explanation on that?
As the director indicated and county council indicated, we're recommending that the current resolution authorizing monies to be used for development and maintenance be increased up to 30% of the available funds. Several things, of course, have happened is the amount of monies that are available and the amount of monies that come in through the fund. So we see this as really, as the director said, a safety net, so that should it be necessary, we're able to increase 5% since the original resolution was structured 5%.
Thank you.
That was...
Any questions from the board? To Jim? No? Thanks, Jim.
Director, if I could, I just thought maybe the counselor can explain a little bit more about item 20 in the prosecutor's office so people understand. It's not that we're getting $1 million in. Can you lay it out?
Sure. I mean, I can give you a little bit
It would be nice.
a little bit of history. When somebody commits a crime in Monmouth County and they use the proceeds of that crime to acquire property, the prosecutor can through forfeiture, obtain that property. Oh, sorry. And in this case, it was a developer or somebody who used money in development, and we received several pieces of property, one of which happened to have been in Middlesex County. And we were able to work with Middlesex County. I think it's a great opportunity for them because they're going to be using it for open space. They're using their open space fund, and it'll be a park for the residents of Monmouth County, of Middlesex County. We didn't have any need for it, obviously, it's outside of our county. So we worked with Middlesex. Now, the thing is about property being acquired, or anything being acquired through forfeiture, which includes cars, jewelry, property, things like that. Whenever that's sold, that money has to go into the prosecutor's law enforcement trust fund. That trust fund must be used for police purposes, for law enforcement purposes. So it doesn't go into the general county budget. It would go into that fund particularly. And the other thing, just to understand on this particular piece of property, because this gentleman, when he was arrested and whatever, he wasn't paying the taxes, so somebody bought a tax lien on the property. It's accrued at 18% interest for the last 4 years, so it is significant. So the money that the county is seeing, I was hoping to be somewhere between $750,000 and $800,000, although now I just found out from Monroe when I called them that the tax lien is even more significant than I thought. So it's probably going to be less money, but still a significant amount of money going into the trust fund. I'm waiting for a final figure at this point, but we are committed to go forward. Middlesex County voted to approve this agreement last week. If you vote on this tonight, we have to have the 2 public hearings, and then we'll go to closing on this. But everything, all the due diligence and everything's been done relating to this property. So if you do vote to approve the agreement, it should go forward quickly.
And even though there is an impact here to our budget when we look at it in the long run, because the prosecutor's office has the ability to use this trust fund.
Well, I'm just about to say, it
right.
already has.
And does quite often. Right. Sure. So I mean, so it does really impact us because we're able to use that for programs and I'm not sure all the equipment and stuff like that he's allowed to use it for, but ultimately we would have to fund that in some way or another. So it does offset the ability and help us on our budget. Thank you, Andrew. Okay. Are you done? You are done.
I'm done.
That's right. And we're at our fabulous engineer, Joe Toy.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Thank you.
Threw you off there.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Item number 22 is a resolution authorizing HNTB Corporation to provide on-call professional engineering services for mechanical and electrical repairs for 4 movable bridges owned and operated by Monmouth County, with a period ending December 31st, 2013. Pursuant to the county's fair and open process, the purchasing department openly advertised requests for proposals for these necessary services. We received 2 responses. Both proposals were from highly qualified firms who are nationally recognized experts in the very specialized field of electrical and mechanical engineering services needed to operate and maintain the 4 movable bridges within the Monmouth County's jurisdiction. Based on the generally more favorable hourly rate fee schedule submitted by HNTB Corporation, we are recommending that the award of this contract be made to HNTB on an as-needed basis based on the fee schedule submitted and subject to the county's established not to exceed contract ceiling of $200,000. Item number 23 is a resolution approving plans and specifications for inmate shower area renovations at the Monmouth County Correctional Institution in the Township of Freeholder. Plans for the shower renovations were prepared in-house. The renovations address various functional replacement and security issues identified by the warden. The engineer's estimate for construction is $1,750,000. This resolution requests the board's approval of the plans and specifications and your authorization to solicit public bids for construction. Item number 24 is a resolution approving plans and specifications for drainage improvements in County Route 13, Shrewsbury Avenue, between Herbert Street and Leonard Street in the borough of Red Bank. This project will address stormwater ponding and icing potential along Shrewsbury Avenue near the Red Bank Union Hose Firehouse. The proposed drainage improvements were designed in-house, and we are recommending that construction also be performed with our in-house Public Works Department highway crews. This resolution requests the board's approval of the plans and your authorization to begin construction with in-house forces. Item number 25 is a resolution consenting to municipal ordinance number 911, amending and supplementing section 64-19, left turn prohibition, section 64-46, schedule 14, left turn prohibition of chapter 64 entitled Vehicle and Traffic Regulations of the Code of the Borough of Oceanport. The Borough of Oceanport has adopted this local ordinance which prohibits left turns between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. Mondays through Friday from County Route 537 Eatontown Boulevard onto a municipal road, Burn Mill Circle. Since the borough ordinance affects movements from a county road, the Freeholder Board's concurring resolution is required prior to the enforcement of this turning prohibition. I have reviewed the borough's ordinance and supporting traffic engineering study and find that it meets the required NJDOT and MUTCD regulations. Therefore, I am recommending that the board adopt this resolution consenting to the borough's amended ordinance. Item number 26 is a resolution authorizing change order number 2 at an increased cost of $212,348.40 and extending the completion date for Stavola Contracting Company Incorporated for the Monmouth County Pavement Rehabilitation Program, various municipalities in the County of Monmouth. This resurfacing project is funded by the federal ARA stimulus funds in an awarded amount of $4,954,877.28. The resurfacing work is essentially complete. However, compliance with federal ADA handicap ramp standards have been a statewide problem. We now have developed a plan which was submitted and approved for ADA compliance by the New Jersey Department of Transportation. Based on the revised plans, the contractor has submitted costs for the removal of the installed handicap ramps and the construction of the new compliant ramps. This change order number 5 provides for the estimated additional cost of $212,348.40 and a time to complete till May 1st, 2013. Based on discussions with NJDOT, we anticipate that upon approval of this change order by the board, NJDOT will provide the funds for the additional approximately $212,000 for the new ramps, but will not participate in the cost of the previous ramp installations, which have an approximate value of $70,000. Those funds can be provided for in the 2010 capital bond ordinance, which included funds for non-participating NJDOT items. Therefore, I recommend your approval of this change order work. Item number 27 is a resolution authorizing change order number 5 for Benjamin R. Harvey Company, general contractor for the construction of 2500 Kozlowski Road building in the Township of Freeholder. The current contract amount for this project is $22,425,915. Change order number 5 incorporates 13 miscellaneous construction change directives, the majority of which relate to negotiated settlement between Freehold Township code compliance, which provides changes in the fire rating and the conduits necessary, which establishes the need to apply a COPS requirement, which is Critical Operations Power Service, to the entire building versus specified areas within the building, which was the way the plans were initially intended. Those specific critical operations areas are the OEM Center, the 911 Center, and the main data center. Again, those areas need to be brought up to the fire compliance, and it was a negotiated settlement with Freehold Township that changed it from the initial plan conditions to the negotiated settlement in terms of both fire rating of doors, ceilings, and conduits through which the electrical conduits are carried. Change order number 5 also incorporates other miscellaneous changes regarding work required as preparation for the audio-visual equipment installation, which was not anticipated at the time the contract was awarded, because that contract was separated out through the unavailability of those plans, as well as other miscellaneous changes due to conflicts with underground geothermal fields, which were discovered and impacted by construction, and the relocation of fire hydrants and other miscellaneous smaller items related to our proceeding with the Phase 2 portion of this building. In all, the cost of change order number 5 is being charged against an allowance which was originally set up of $185,000 against the original bid of $16.725 million. The $185,000 allowance represents only 1.1% of that original $16.75 million. So all of the change orders to date, with the exception of the 2 change orders dealing with the addition of the Phase 2 building and the modifications which we made to the second story and the front entrance, with the exception of those 2 major change orders, we are still within that 1.1%. To date, including everything listed in change order number 5, we will have charged $172,000 against the $185,000 allowance, leaving us a $13,000 balance in the allowance. So although there have been a significant number of changes, again, without the 2 major changes, the second phase of the building and the front entrance second story, we're still well within a very reasonable number. Based on that, I recommend that we approve change order number 5. Item number 27 is a resolution authorizing change order, item number 28 is a resolution authorizing change order number 1 at an increased cost of $94,821 for Panetta Industrial Automation for chiller replacements at various Monmouth County locations. The board previously authorized a design-build contract for the design and construction of 5 chillers at 3 county facilities. There are 2 chillers at the Hall of Records, 2 chillers at the Western Branch Library. 1 chiller at the Western. Let me start over. There was 1 chiller at the Hall of Records, 2 chillers at the Western Branch Library, and 2 chillers at the west wing of the courthouse. That construction is being funded through the Energy Efficiency Conservation Block Grant and was awarded to Panetta Industrial Automation, Jersey City, in the amount of $1,148,000. Shortly after startup of the chillers at the west wing of the courthouse, we experienced problems with the 2 chillers shutting down due to the loss of condenser water flow. After extensive investigation as to the cause of this condition, it was determined by the design-build contractor that the cause was a result of negative pressure on the suction side of the condenser pumps. Analysis of the adequate condenser water flow was not part of the design-build contractor's responsibilities, since the chiller replacement projects are typically integrated into existing building systems without modification, as was accomplished at the other 3 chiller installations included in this contract. The design-build contractor has proposed to alleviate this condition by raising the cooling towers by approximately 6 feet so that enough head pressure can be generated. We have reviewed and concurred with this recommendation. This change order has been prepared for all labor, material, and equipment and supervision needed for the design and construction associated with the raising of the cooling towers. The currently available energy efficiency conservation block grant funds will be utilized to fund $26,235 of this increased contract amount. The remaining approximately $65,000 will be funded through a county capital bond. Accordingly, we are recommending the approval of this change order. And that's concludes my report.
Thank you, Joe. I'd just like to address number 27 because I contacted you about the changes. Is some of that code compliance?
It is. A majority, many, there are 13 various CCDs that were issued against change order 5. A large number of them were dealing with negotiations between the county and the Freeholder Township Code Compliance Officer. Originally, the building was designed to be a COPS building, a critical operation power system building, which means that certain infrastructure within the building, as interpreted by our architect, had to be protected for certain fire ratings. The code compliance officer looked at the entire building, every single room, every single fixture.
Even closets?
I'm sorry?
Even closets?
Yes, even closets had to be code compliant, had to be COPS compliant. Freeholder Township has agreed to grant us a waiver on the entire building, and that was a negotiated settlement. However, we did have to make additional modifications over what was shown on the original plans to put us in compliance with the new waivers. And that resulted in things such as the ceilings being upped in their fire rating, the doors, and some of the closets, as well as many of the conduits. However, we also received some credits for low voltage lines, for example, that did not have to be in protected galvanized conduits. So overall, I think this is a good negotiated settlement.
And so it looks like if you look at the big picture, the amount of money being spent on this building, the change orders, and I might also state that the 2, and I know you're not elaborating more on the 2 larger change orders, but in the long run, that's going to be an extreme cost savings with consolidation of buildings and staffing into one building. Long term, this will be a huge, huge savings for the county. So.
Really, for example, one of the items we deleted by adding the second phase of the building was we saved nearly $750,000 just by eliminating stone from the facade of the building, which would have had to been torn down.
Great job.
Hey, I have a question. The Kozlowski Road building, it seems like every 2 weeks we're coming up with these changes. And then I see when we did the resolution authorizing the chiller replacements.
Right.
I'm kind of concerned because I know in my business, if I made a mistake, I would be responsible to fix those things. And you know, when I hear about not enough head pressure, or now you have to raise the tower, I mean, why is this not thought about in a more global way so that we only have to do this once? I know that we added on to the second part of the building for the 911 building. Who's missing this? Is it the architect that's not picking up on these things, and yet it comes back to us, even though we do get some of the benefits of a credit? I mean, because if we're doing our due diligence, which I think we are, what's the issue with the architect? Does the architect have no responsibility, and the gentleman that builds the product? Where do we kind of meet here, even though we negotiate these things?
Certainly, we have to distinguish between the 2 specific contracts here. The first is 2500 Kozlowski, which is a standard.
I apologize, I lumped them together.
Yeah, there's a distinction between the standard construction and design build. 2500 Kozlowski is a standard construction type open bid contract where the architect prepares complete plans and the contractor bids on fully disclosed information on the plans. His obligation is to comply with the plans. In this case, as was explained with the code compliance issue, which was a large part of specifically change order number 5, the architect had interpreted the building as a COPS compliant building with the fire ratings that had been included in the plans when they were submitted.
Which were code compliant at that time.
Which were submitted to Freehold Township.
Right.
And which we received our building permits to construct.
Right.
And it was approved at that.
And
And it was approved at that time. As construction progressed, there were different interpretations that the building should be entirely code compliant. Now, I have to tell you that we're not 100% satisfied that the architect covered everything that was required to be covered. And as a matter of fact, we have withheld some miscellaneous payments, albeit small in dollar amount, when we feel that the architect has made errors. There's one specific area where we withheld $2,300 from his bill because the cost of windowsills that had been spec'd were not usable in the contract that had to be replaced. So we took a credit from that, and that is yet to be resolved when the project gets completed. So we are taking steps to hold the professionals accountable for what they are responsible for. The code compliance, I have to admit, was a fairly unique issue, and I think there is some additional discussions that we have to have with our professional about that.
And Gary, I'd like to add one thing too, because I agree with you, and this came up with the Middletown Red Bank Bridge, where we had some, where we came off, way off on our estimate from our engineer. And I think Joe and myself and Terry and John were working together to change the system of the point system, which I'll bring up to the rest of the board and get their recommendation too, once Joe brings it up to me, where not only do we rely on pre-qualified participants through engineering and architectural design that we have here in Monmouth County, and then when we look at the point system and we look at the work performed and how we evaluate it, and situations like this, if at times they cost the county money, that's a negative blemish on them when they now come in front of us again for another project. Because quite frankly, it's taxpayers' money. And we should be, and I know nobody can be perfect. Nobody, let's be realistic, everybody's gonna make a mistake here once in a while. But, unfortunately, they're gonna have to be held accountable for it, and that's the only way you can hold them accountable.
Well, it just seems, like I said, that my feeling is because it puts us at risk, because we come back with these change orders, and but someone has to take responsibility. So if it's the architect who doesn't do his job, then it comes back to it almost seems like we're able to just pick it up and take care of it. We pay for it. Some of these things, if they're engineered correctly, or the architect does his job, I don't think we should have this problem. So that's my only point, because having done construction, even when I was a local municipal official, you do run across these, but we're 200,000 here, 100,000 there. After a while, I think somebody has to be responsible for it.
Well, again, that was one of the reasons I pointed out that the allowance on this contract, on the original bid of $16.75 million, it was only 1.1%. Any construction contract, you generally anticipate something as a 5% as being a good job, 10% as being an acceptable job. When you start getting over those percentages, then you start looking at what's really going on here. I mean, even with a standard level of care in the profession of architectural or engineering services, a 5% within the original budget is considered industry-wide to be a good number. Right? We're at 1.1% on the allowance, but for the changes associated with the what we as the owner have requested in terms of the modification to the building entrance, second floor, and the second, which with the ultimate goal of saving the county the total cost. If you exclude those out, because we're at 22 million, excluding those out, we're still within the allowance.
I'm just trying to put the responsibility kind of in another place, because it seems like we're always rescuing these things. And so you do get to a point where you're like, is this architect capable of doing this? And then with Freehold Township, I would say, even though, I don't know when the plans were drawn there, probably before I was on the board, and sometimes it takes a while before they get implemented, so they can be 10 years old by the time it actually happens. Those plans really should be updated, and
And code
that's my only point. I think that we need to somehow figure out, because it just goes back a long way. And I just wanted to comment on those particular items, saying we're always fixing it.
Would you like me to go over the chiller replacement, the design build aspect of it?
I'm sorry?
The chiller replacement design build was a different issue?
Yeah, well, no, but in general, I'm just making a point about either of those, not necessarily like why we're always fixing it. That's what I find us doing.
Yeah, we are very cognizant of the fact that, controlling change orders is one of our primary functions in the engineer's office.
Thank you.
It's Director, it is to respond to Freeholder Rich's comments, which I agree with. It is part of the contractors and professional gains, obviously, to come in at a lower bid and move forward with these change orders to squeeze every bit of penny profit they possibly can. And I agree with you, Director, that the time has come for us to find some new contractors so the competition, the overall view of competition, the sphere of competition is much greater. Makes them sharpen their pencils a little bit and makes them more responsible if they know that they're not going to get through on a point system. There are a lot of people out there that hit with a low bid. Obviously, we can't always accept a low bid because the quality of work. But there are those companies that have been hired and that built, one of them built the prosecutor's building, that I voted against because there was a mutual termination, a mutual agreement between the County of Monmouth and the contractor to abandon what was being done up here on the third floor and the other work that was being done throughout the building.
I agree with you, and there becomes a time where when you offer a bid out and the low bid comes in, there is a built-in into the bid a percentage that they can allow for change orders in the future. Well, when you come to a bid and it's very close, okay, and the one that's a little lower, okay, yeah, he gets in a little lower with the thought that, okay, I have, and in this case, $180,000 of change orders I'm allowed. And, even though that's not a big picture on a $22 million building, it's still $180,000. And
It becomes a repetitious game.
It's frustrating after a while.
Yeah,
it really
I
does.
just want to protect you too. I mean, you guys work very hard.
Do. Very hard.
You need to do
Okay.
Thank you.
Finance?
Thank you, Director of Freeholders. Agenda item 29 authorizes the Monmouth County Board of Trustees to adopt and execute the 2013 Monmouth County Division of Social Services Fiscal Plan. The Board of Trustees are required to adopt the Division of Social Services Fiscal Plan in order to send it to the state for approval. The state must approve the fiscal plan before the county can adopt the overall budget. The fiscal plan includes the budget figures contained within the county budget for social services, as well as the assistance payments for welfare, which are handled through the trust fund. Agenda items 30 and 31 authorize the Director of the Monmouth County Board of Trustees to execute calendar year 2013 grant agreements with Monmouth Neighborhood Housing Incorporated and Homefront Incorporated to provide emergency shelter, transitional housing, and case management services to homeless families, homeless single female-headed families, homeless single women, and homeless single pregnant women who are eligible for emergency assistance primarily through federal and state dollars. Agenda items 32 and 33 are resolutions authorizing the Director of the Monmouth County Board of Trustees to execute 2 grant applications for a North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority and the New Jersey Institute of Technology for a fiscal year 2014 sub-regional transportation planning unified planning work program grant in the amount of $154,777.50, which includes county match of $30,955.50. And an application for round 14 of the Federal Transit Administration Job Access and Reverse Commute Grant to provide funding for the continued operation of New Jersey Transit Corporation's Route E36 in the amount of $150,000, which includes $75,000 in county matching funds. That's all I have, Director.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? Before I move on to purchasing, I'd just like to address one of the items, number 37, before we
I'm
move
sorry,
forward.
I forgot to deal with that during my report.
No, that's no problem.
Item 37 is being tabled to allow staff to obtain additional information to assist the board in making a fully informed decision regarding this matter.
Thank you.
So I just recommend just putting up.
Is the board okay with that? Do we need a motion?
I'll make a motion to table item number 37.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay, so Jerry, purchasing?
That's okay, sir. Thank you, Mr. Director. Good afternoon, freeholders. The purchasing bi-weekly report for today that you have before you currently comprises items number 34 to 67 on the tentative agenda, with the exception of number 37, which was just tabled. There were 13 formal bid contract awards totaling $931,798.76 today. 3 of these will be added to the county co-op list. They are numbers 53, 54, and 55. They are law enforcement sedans, pickups, and grade marker flags. There are currently 55 items for the municipalities used on the county co-op list as of today. We have 1 New Jersey state contract for you to award this evening. It totals $65,934.55. It is number 63, the furniture for the prosecutors. There are 16 purchasing resolutions. Items 34 to 49, now with the exception of 37, with no monetary change. The proper proposals and certifications are attached. They total $640,803.85 for the items requiring funds. There are 4 resolutions awarded through the fair and open RFP process, numbers 46 to 49. They total $206,893.38. And there is 1 resolution to be awarded through the competitive contracting process. It totals $53,202, and that's number 45. We also have 4 authorizations for future bids for the motions on your agenda, numbers 64 to 67. If you do not wish any of these put out to bid, please advise us today. There are 2 items on the internet for future RFPs as of today as well, and we will be circulating through our wonderful new system a current year-to-date purchasing performance and volume report. And again, we wish to report that the new system with a few tweaks is doing extremely well. We seem to be getting positive feedback from the users. And again, we thank IT, the entire team, the administration, and the board for allowing the system to go forward. So if you have any questions, we'll try to answer them for you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Purchasing? Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Great report. Anyone from the public present to be heard on county business only? At this time, feel free to step up and state your name. I have a list here, and it's Ray Cronkus. Ray, before you get up, and no disrespect, I just like to say, if we're going to be discussed, if some of your suggestions, our discussion is going to be on the property that we talked about earlier, because I know you came in later, and I owe that to you, that there's no reason to discuss that right now. I will take all your conversation to that later, because we took it off our agenda. When it comes back on, believe me, I know there's going to be a lot of discussion. I welcome it, and I respect the discussion.
Director, with all due respect,
Sure.
I think that, and obviously to you, because I know you oppose the project, but I just think that there are people that have taken time from their busy schedules to come forward, and if we're opening this up to county business, it's my opinion that they should be allowed to come up and discuss any county business they want.
Well, here's the one thing that I would ask is, I don't want to reiterate over and over and over, some of the comments. If there's a comment that you have to make, we know, I can pretty much guarantee everybody, I know everybody's feeling that's in here today. If we could not just go on and go with the history of it, we know the history, and I welcome it. I welcome all of it when it comes time for us to make a decision. Okay, but I don't want to continue to go over and over and over.
Director, there is a 5-minute limit that I know you enforce of each speaker, plus $1,158,000 of taxpayers' money is on the line.
I would disagree with that, because it says opportunity for anyone present to be heard on county business only.
Exactly.
And if it's related to this agenda, then I think that's fine, but
That's not what it says, Freeholder. It says any county business.
Director has stated
Yeah,
that we've heard.
well, here's this, we're not gonna, I don't think that, one second, I don't think we need to get into an argument up here on the dais on something we're not even voting on now. Okay, I think that time.
You don't even know what I'm going to talk.
Okay, we'll talk, go ahead. You're right, you're absolutely right, go ahead, talk first.
I can't.
You just knew you came late.
And I just wanted to give you.
Ray Black is Manalapan. I'm looking at item 19, I assume that's what you're all talking about.
Well, there you go. Even George gave a look like this behind you.
I happened to be at the Manalapan Township Governing Body meeting last night, and Mr. Lucas was present. And I asked him, I said, since in the past you have indicated that Senator Beck has become your mentor in many instances, and to my knowledge, Senator Beck has not publicly issued or approval or disapproval of this deal, at least not that I know of.
I don't think none of us do.
So I
I can't speak for all of us.
I asked because I remember when now Senator Beck was running against Ellen Karchik and the issue of farmland assessment and not growing enough of so forth and so forth. But I would, number one, publicly, I don't know what you're going to do tonight, but publicly.
I got it. Address all your comments to me, please. It's going to be addressed, it's tabled for tonight, just so you, because I know you weren't here, so.
Okay, I'm glad it's tabled for tonight, because this gives an opportunity for Senator Beck to publicly make her statements on this deal. And that's what I would like to see occur.
Well, you would have to go to Senator Beck.
I agree with Mr. Curley and George Spodak on this issue, and I do not want to see this deal go through. Since Senator Beck talks about the issue of open space and farmland and saving open space and what you have to sell in order to have farmland assessment, I think it's very important that Senator Beck publicly come forward.
Okay, well,
state her position on this
that's
deal.
something, yeah, Senator Beck, I mean, that's.
Senator Beck has introduced legislation before the Senate, and that is to eliminate the possibility of what is the pinnacle, it's the actual sphere of what's taking place.
I understand.
With Mr. Lucas, where a person cannot participate in any negotiation or discussion. So I think the senator has made her position quite clear that she's certainly disillusioned as to what has transpired up to this juncture.
Okay, well, I haven't heard her statement on this deal specifically publicly put forward.
If you need her telephone number,
Well, I would like to see it out in the open, where everybody can hear it, not just Ray Klein.
Yeah, but they don't have public meetings like we do.
Well, we have an Asbury Park Press representative here, at least she was here.
She's here.
Yeah, okay, well, she's here, she hears what I'm saying.
I'm sure she does every
What I'm
meeting.
saying in tomorrow's paper.
But you're also live on NBC, the camera there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I want to let you know.
I was wondering, are you NBC already?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, ABC, I'm terribly sorry.
Not yet.
As you know, in advance, I've indicated I regard this whole farmland open space
I know.
preservation deal, the way it's done, as not the way to go.
You stated your time
Said it over and over
properly
again.
for many years.
And this deal in particular has a read to it that I don't see how the average citizen can support.
Thank you. George, please.
I respect, because
Just on a comment, but please don't direct it to any of the freeholders. I don't want to get into discussion. Respectfully to the freeholders until we have to vote, that's all I would ask.
I have to be.
No, it will be directed to me. I will not allow that as a directive. Okay.
Mr. Director, ladies and gentlemen, freeholder board.
Excuse me, sir, say your name.
George Spodak, 10 Lexington Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey, 07726. I have to reference two items that you should be aware of as the board. First of all, this is a copy, which I will give to you. It's you may have it, I know. It's the State of New Jersey Office of the Controller Investigative Report, dated January 29, 2013. If you have a copy, I will give
But,
it.
I mean, George.
Just no, it has to get to the property, and what I'm not going to read you the last paragraph
Okay.
until I give you the other 2 or 3 before. It doesn't make sense. You wouldn't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, can you give that to Marion so that we get a copy of all of it, and we'll all get a copy?
Thank you.
What I have, this represents basically what's in that report.
Well, if that's a copy you would like to,
I can give you this copy too,
good, and let her present it to.
but I would like to make this public.
Well, it will public, I mean,
No, public.
you're gonna read the whole thing?
George, just read the darn thing.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do.
God,
On January 29th, the State Controller's Office, Matthew Boxer, issued a press release about an investigative report finding the longtime Chesterfield Mayor, Committeeman and Planning Board member,
Lawrence C. Durr, exploited his government position to turn a substantial profit on the land deal. The State Controller's Office is responsible for investigating and uncovering misconduct, waste, and abuse from all levels of New Jersey government. Similarities between Andrew Lucas and Lawrence Durr and both their land deals are staggering. They include: both had more than $1 million at stake at the outcome of their land deals. Durr was able to intervene with officials of Burlington County against the developer who had sought additional credits for his land deal. Mr. Durr went back to the county and got the same credits for his property. Mr. Lucas participated in discussions in Manalapan Township about purchase of the 4 open space opportunities. All 4 were turned down, leaving the pot full of money for Mr. Lucas. He is even on record in executive session minutes saying that the properties was, quote, not good for municipal use. Why did he even make a comment? Why didn't Mr. Neff and the local finance board address it? Both Mr. Durr and Mr. Lucas appointed the boards they went before. Durr appointed the planning board and Mr. Lucas appointed the Manalapan Township Agricultural Board. Both did not disclose the personal stake in their properties. Mr. Lucas was outed by another elected official. When he came before the Freeholder Board on July 2011, Mr. Lucas refused to answer the questions to the Freeholder, Amy Mallett. You were there when I was there.
Actually, that was in my hometown.
Okay. Mr. Foxett Mr. Foxett, in his press release, said what had happened with Mr. Durr was akin to insider trading. Mr. Foxett also said when there is $1 million at stake, a $500 fine becomes merely the cost of doing business. Even if the state ups the penalty to $10,000, it pales at the comparison to millions of dollars at stake. Some would still view this at $10,000 as a cost of doing business. Mr. Foxett has sent his office findings on Mr. Durr to the State Division of Criminal Justice to determine whether criminal prosecution would be appropriate. I think this is important. Because of this case, I filed a complaint with the State Controller's Investigative Unit last week. I have certified mail copies right here. You, the Monmouth County Board of Freeholders, must take any decision on the Lucas application until a decision is rendered by the State Controller's Office. If you don't, and Mr. Boxer and his staff reaches a similar conclusion, good luck. And I asked the investigator about this, in trying to get the money back. You may find it in the Cayman Islands.
Okay.
This is a copy of the complaint, certified.
5 minutes.
That's fair. Would you not agree?
I want to get this one.
Okay.
This is,
Well, not,
Okay.
please. Okay, that was fair.
okay, this is on a different copy. It's only half a copy. I have a copy here of the Asbury Park Press.
Oh, we all read it. We all read it. We all read that. We all read
Let
it.
me tell you.
George, we all read that. We all read that. Please, I'm asking you,
No.
please.
I just want you to know.
I know, but please, don't.
My in-laws had tattoos on
All
them.
right, please. Okay?
Oh,
Please,
you said it.
please. Rhoda?
Hi, Rhoda Television Management. I'm in agreement with you, Director, that we shouldn't hold any more discussion about this land deal until we're ready, that the county is ready to vote or approve whatever they need to be approved. Everything in Manalapan is at a standstill now for 2 weeks. I was at Manalapan's meeting last night, and they're reviewing, a whole bunch of emails.
I guess they're gonna vote in 2 weeks.
That really mean nothing, because Manalapan can't do anything anymore. Everything is now for the county, as soon as Manalapan puts it forward. Now, we've had 2 ethics complaints against Mr. Lucas, Mayor Lucas, about the farm. I mean, how many complaints are we going to wait for, like 5 years? Because every time that a complaint or 2 ethics violations were totally cleared on Mr. Lucas. Now there's another complaint that comes up. How many years are we going to wait for every time they don't get the political people that want to make this whole issue political, don't get what they want to file more complaints after more complaints? How many more are we going to wait on? And that's all I have.
Let that decision
You
come.
know something, Ms. Kodesh, what you just said, not to allow people to speak, you just took the opportunity to express your opinion. And it is certainly welcome. All opinions are welcome. But it's important, as I said, when we're dealing with $1,158,000, that people be heard about this. Each and every person that's sitting in this audience and has read the Asbury Park Press today has to pay the bill.
Well, wait a second. Stay at the station. You can't come back up again. You can't come back. Well, I'm not going to get into arguments here. John, and I just like to address you. You know my feeling, and I'll elaborate on it in 2 weeks if I have to. With that, and the only reason I look at this is only because of our time restraints of what we have to apply, what we have to have today.
Well, what's good for the goose is...
No, you're right, absolutely. I agree. I gave one, I had to give the other one. You're absolutely correct. I agree with you.
Amen. I came to speak today on that issue, but I will wait for the appropriate time. I'd like to speak on something else.
Could you state your address?
240 Higher Stone Road.
Just call next to the lady.
Oh, yeah.
I want to speak on a completely different issue, our vocational high school system. Dr. McCorkle was here today, and I don't know him. He's new, I understand. But I think that the vocational school system made a mistake 30 years ago by putting the vocational system as adjuncts to the high school, that somehow there was shame to vocational education. Right now, we are focused on math, and we are it was in probably today's paper, and we're focused on the high technology high school, and we should be proud of those things. But I think that we have established a blind eye to the other aspects of vocational education. I saw a film on Channel 13 in which Alabama, the state, built their own school within an industry, drawing teachers from that industry in order to create the good-paying jobs. And I would like to see Dr. McCorkle and the county focus on the other aspects of vocational education.
With all due respect, he actually does.
Oh, I know, go ahead. You feel free. No, go ahead.
But he quite often is here talking about the other aspects, and he is an extreme advocate for that as well. If you're here at the meetings, he is here very often, and he's talking about both aspects. He's very proud of that, but of the career academy, but he always makes a point. And we do have awards that are given to the other vocational aspects.
Getting into the papers.
They're not, and that's only possible, and you're right, but you know what I would like maybe we could give you the information of Mr. McCorkle, and you could talk to him, because I think you would, and I'm not saying you would change your mind, but I think you would be impressed with what Mr. McCorkle, and I do grant you, it isn't getting out there like it should be, and we're very proud of our schools. You know, the board members here that have been here for a few more years than myself have done a fabulous job, and we're going to continue to do that.
Middlesex County, I believe, has 17 vocational schools. And I think that we need to look
We have
at
14.
beg your pardon.
I think that
How many do we have?
PSENG award that
We have 14. We have 14.
Last year went to one of the other vocational school students from one of the other vocational schools, not from one of the career academies.
And we have 14, and we have many that are rated very, very high. As you heard today, one being number one, and many being rated very high. So I would like to for you to talk to them and see what we do offer. I think you'll be impressed.
Also, if I may, we have some really great ceremonies. I attended most of them last year.
We all did.
We'll make sure, Laura, if you can make sure that Mrs. Amen gets invited to those, they are. Now, and I'm not talking about high-tech high and biotech and those schools. I'm talking about the other vocational school systems that we have and the other things that we do. And it's a wonderful opportunity for us for people to see.
I want our young people to
put them in
understand
your
they don't
program.
have to take jobs from Wawa or Home Depot or that they can train for the high-paying jobs that we need in this country.
You're right.
Thank you.
Okay?
it's been a while since I've been here,
Now, tell us.
and it's like deja vu. I feel a little deja vu in the air here.
Forgot to say your name.
Oh, you know what, that's right. Amy Mallett, Fairhaven.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You know what, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I know many people did travel to come here, and this is a government for the people, by the people. Please keep it that way. So, certainly thank you very much. I do want to say I was impressed with the presentation, and I want to thank you for moving forward initiatives on clean, renewable energy. It's where we need to be, it's where we need to go, and I'm glad to see it's being continued. So thank you all for that. It's good to see everybody here today. I have a question. Are there any federal funds, and I will speak on what is now number 19, because I came here and I want to speak on it. I haven't been to other meetings, I don't know what's been said, so I don't know if I'm going to repeat anything, but I'm just going to say what I have to say. Are there any federal funds being used for this application?
The LED?
No, I'm sorry. No, number 19.
Oh, okay.
Harry? Harry is here.
Yeah, I see it. That's a good reason I stayed around.
Is it only
stated in order to record you, no. Or I can answer everything when you're talking about this. Good to see you again. Harriet Homefeld. We had applied for federal funds, and and federal funds were set aside for the project. But the landowner ended up asking them to be put back in the pot, basically turning them down recently because the process unfortunately has changed in the recent year or two, and an appraisal update would be needed, and it would cost a couple $1,000s. And that appraisal update would be to have the appraisal, one of the appraisals done to a special set of federal standards, and our original appraisals didn't need to be in that format because of the time and expense of that, and because of some of the statements that didn't seem so supportive of, they have since been put back.
So the answer is no.
No, the answer is no. So sorry, but I needed to get there.
So the conclusion is it wasn't fast enough for him. So the answer and the conclusion.
First, the owner of the property waived that option to have the federal funds because of the requirements that were involved in the appraisal process. So, okay, and who would be paying for that?
The appraisal?
Yeah.
Update, we didn't get to the point of determining that, but either the county or the municipality would.
The town usually does.
So.
In past experience?
Tax dollars, okay, tax dollars.
Okay, so that's actually.
In the past experience, has the municipality?
Always, usually.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering that. But obviously I'm here for a reason, and I certainly want to make it clear that the decision that is made on the vote on that particular application is not a question of open space advocacy or opposition. It's not about that. And I'm sure you recall when this came up for a vote back in May 2011 to authorize the application, I did vote no. And I did vote in favor of every other open space application that came before me. And by the way, if given the opportunity, I would have done the same thing today, and for the same reasons. It lacks transparency, disclosure, and I think it's ethically wrong. For those of you who will not support the application, when it does come up, and I don't know when it is coming up, I want to say thank you for doing the right thing, because I do believe it's the right thing to oppose it. You have a fiduciary responsibility to the people you serve, and an obligation to follow ethics codes. Now, despite the fact that other boards may have approved this application, you have an opportunity here to do what's right. We have laws on the books which outline in specific terms what is not allowed. Now, these local government ethics laws regulate the conduct of local elected officials and board members. Unfortunately, it hasn't been followed to a T. And I'd like to point you to NJSA 40A 9-22.5C and D as well. So it's just
Can
interesting.
you repeat that, please?
I was gonna ask you that too.
48-9-,
It's 40A hyphen 9-22.5C.
Thank you.
And D. Okay. Got that? Okay. I mean, everybody really needs to be familiar with these ethics laws. That is, okay. All right, and then I found it interesting, the timing of this report that came out just, I think it was last week, this 21-page report regarding Burlington County and a conflict of interest with the mayor on a land deal, and I thought, what is this? I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I said, wait a minute, there was another report recently about Wall Township. I know there was an investigation there as well, so I don't know what's going on here. It also caught the attention of Senator Tom Kean. He's calling for more oversight and stiffer penalties for violating ethics laws at municipal and school board levels. We need top to bottom or bottom to top ethics reform. But until that happens, please do the right thing here. Really, please do the right thing. The public deserves it. And anything else is a slap in the face to so many residents who are hurting, facing hardships, and who have lost their home and their property. When open space programs were supported at the polls, this is not for the voters had in mind. Politicians are elected to serve the people, not themselves, and the ends do not justify the means.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you.
Freeholder Mallard, it's interesting. When you talk about ethics, my father always said to me, if you have to go before an ethics panel, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place.
There you go.
Bottom line.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping in closing that, I'm sure we're gonna continue this discussion unless it doesn't come in front of us again. And when we do, I can assure you, I will give my opinion, as I'm sure all 5 of the freeholders here will, on that.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Good to see you.
Marion?
Freeholder Damaso offered the following resolution and moved its adoption, seconded by Freeholder Rich. Be it resolved that an executive session will be held in the Freeholders Conference Room for the purpose of discussing land acquisition, the potential litigation, personnel, land acquisition, and litigation. The executive meeting minutes will be available to the public in accordance with NJSA 10:4-12. Freeholder Rich.
Yes.
Freeholder Curley.
Yes.
Freeholder Burry.
Yes.
Freeholder Damaso.
Yes.
Director Arno.
Yes.
Get back.